traveling is incredibly important to an investor because you get to experience the world. You need to interact with the real world to learn. I have this client who's an Israeli, and what it means that this person tells me exactly what she thinks, which is once you get used to it, realize that's a very, very powerful, because what she tells me is what other people think. They may just not tell me that. So one day she says, Vitaliy, when do you have time to do research because you travel so much? I was thinking about this, like I can see how from her perspective, if I travel, I don't do research. And I get it. If you're a doctor and you're at the office, you're not working. If you're an accountant and you're not sitting in your computer crunching tax returns, you're not working. And she projected this onto me. It's like, if I'm not in my office, if I'm traveling, who's doing research? And so when I look at research, there are two parts to it. There's a kind of let's call it the number crunching part, kind of reading annual reports and reading transcripts, etc. But then there is another part, and that's the part where you need to interact with the real world to learn. And you need both, and they need to be balanced well. And I would argue that traveling is incredibly important to an investor because you get to experience the world and you get to understand things a lot better. I'll give you one example. We own a company called Philip Morris International. And Philip Morris have this product called IQOS. IQOS is basically the device that looks like maybe a large USB stick. And you put these little cigarettes into it. Instead of being burned, they heat it. And therefore, when you smoke them, you get a fraction of carcinogens than if you smoke the cigarette. And therefore, you still get nicotine and you still experience the joy of smoking, except it's a lot less bad for you. Now, I remember I was in the Milan train station and I walked into this kind of kiosk of IQOS, and I spent 20 minutes talking to a sales rep. I never knew about this product because it's not available in the United States. And seeing it firsthand was kind of eye-opening for me. And then that was it. And then a few years later, we look at Philip Morris International, we look at tobacco sector, and I look at Philip Morris International, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I get it. That's the product. And suddenly, Philip Morris International talks about how they're positioning the product as a premium product. And I remember that the kind of IQOS kiosk looked like it was a little Apple store. In fact, the reason I came up to it, because it looked like Apple store. It had the same feel, the same texture, etc. So that's an example where seeing it firsthand actually has helped, kind of interacting with the real world has helped me in our investments. Now, same applies to so many other things. Like going to India, I understood how poor that country is. I understood how they have such a huge gaps in infrastructure. But I also realized how wonderful the people are. But at the same time, I understood that this is a country that has dozens of languages. That some parts of the country don't understand other part of the country because they have very different languages. So I think as an investor, you want to do both. You want to kind of do the number crunching part, reading annual reports, etc., but also you need to be exposed to the rest of the world. One more thing, the beauty of investing, this is why I'm so privileged to have this job, I can literally do what I do from anywhere. I think we're going to go to Mexico with my kids for 10 days. I'm going to be working 4 or 5 hours a day, just reading. I can be doing it sitting on the beach. I can do it in the conference room. I can sit in on this couch. The beauty of this job, I can do it anywhere. The beauty of this is that this job is not really a job for me. It's a paid hobby. And therefore, I work when I don't work, because a lot of times when I travel, my brain is still thinking about, for pleasure, I'm still thinking about investments, etc. I think the key is to realize that to be a good investor, I think it's not enough to be sitting in a sterile office and just reading. I think you need to experience the world, because the companies that you own, they don't operate in the sterile world. They operate in the real world, and that's why you need to experience it. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more about life, classical music, philosophy, and investing, make sure to subscribe to my articles and visit investor.fm. Thank you.